Hey, I think I'm probably live by now, but I always like to give it until I actually see it. Nope, it does say live. Okay, we are good to go. I just got an updated flood warning, and really, since I figure only a few of you are here at this point, I wanted to get everybody back together here so we could. I just got an updated flood warning, and I forgot I was watching Storm Chasers, so I had the sound up. So now that we have that, yeah. So here's the deal: new flood warnings are going up. This includes Wynne, Natchitoches, and Grant Parish. Let me take a look and see the wording on all that. I just, again, figured I'd come on live and we could talk about what's coming in because it's kind of coming together in one of the two ways I thought it was going to, and there's some positives and some negatives, and we'll get to that. But that flood warning includes Grant, Southern Jackson, Wynne Parish, Southeastern Bienville Parish, Natchitoches Parish, and Southeastern Red River Parish. Doppler radar indicated a lot of rain, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Just says heavy rain across the Warrender area. Flash flooding is ongoing or expected to start soon. And that includes a pretty large part of the area. Now, I think we're going to see more of this through the night. And I think that's what we're kind of looking at as our main threat here for now. There still is a severe threat for sure, but this is really kind of getting sloppy here. You see the outflow here. It's hard to pick it out. You see that little line right there? That's the outflow boundary. A little bit more of a nudge to the south with these extra showers that formed here over Rapides Parish. And it's almost like it's being almost held stable or drawn north here ahead of this line of storms that's now moving through Vernon and northern Beauregard Parish. This only has a special weather statement on it, but it is really cranking out that way. Now, if you missed it, I did post about this earlier. We had that, what I thought could have been a debris signature out near Pirates Cove, and it looks like around there and Kites Marina. They did have a lot of damage, at least a lot of trees and power lines, things like that down. I don't have full updates on all that yet, but and I'll look at questions here in just a bit. Looking at what's going on in Vernon Parish and Natchitoches Parish, I mean, you're up in this real big storm too. What we have, it's kind of that elongating, what I was talking about earlier. So we have the boundary here that I kind of showed, that diffuse kind of outflow boundary that's basically along a DeRidder to Oakdale to Bunkie line. And these storms are going to kind of move east or east-northeastward along this. Now, out to the south of this boundary, loads of instability. We have a lot of instability, tons of moisture, convergence to help lift this, southerly flow, all the things that we need. They're all coming together for a big, heavy rain event, and we're seeing that right now. I'm going to pop lightning up. This is pretty impressive. And I'll put the numbers on it. So over 1,000 strikes in the last 15 minutes over our state and into extreme eastern Texas. If I expand this out even just a little bit more, we're up to around 2,500. This is that next wave. We're not even going to worry about that just yet, but this is that next wave for later tonight that I'm watching. But a lot of what happens depends on what happens with these storms right here. So I'll pop up watch. Oh, I already had watches in mornings. I'm sorry. We don't have that new tornado watch, which has not been issued. They haven't really discussed that. But for us right now, I think the most imminent threat is going to be some damaging wind potential. I have not seen a lot of rotation in these storms as they've crossed into Louisiana, but I do see that threat for some really heavy rainfall. So let me show you what has been going on for the last. Let's go back for the last 4 hours. How about that? And what I'm going to show you here is our 1 hour. Now, stay with me. 1 hour rainfall totals over a 4-hour stretch. So we're just going to see where that heavy rain band has kind of shifted and what the movement characteristics have been with this. And here's what we're looking at here. You can see it was pretty narrow, kind of training in these same areas. Now we're seeing, again, this goes back 4 hours. Now we're seeing a bit of a nudge toward the east and a little bit of a tilt to where that cluster is kind of tilting out and elongating across the middle of the area along that outflow boundary. This is kind of what I was worried would happen, and you can see widespread. When we're in the green, we're above a half an inch an hour. These yellows pop up. We're over 2 inches per hour, and that is the kind of rain that can cause flooding. And you can see the heaviest right now, and I'm going to pull this lapse time back to an hour, and I'm going to put it on a different thing in a second here. You can see that heaviest rain there developing across Jasper and Newton County, Texas. This is getting into Vernon and Beauregard Parish, and it's going to continue on toward the east-northeast. Natchitoches Parish, you've been getting blasted with this for a while. Sabine Parish, you've dealt with what was likely a tornado, and you have the flood warning. So lots of stuff going on up that way, and lots of stuff for all of us, really, right now. So what I'm doing is just pulling up my stuff here, make sure I'm okay. Lake Charles, they did launch another upper air sounding, so that means we're going to get more weather balloon data and be able to see things and see kind of what's going on here. Let me go back to the radar, and actually, I'll be right back. I'm going to let this cat out of here. You gotta go. Come on. There you go. Go with it. Sorry, guys. She's a sweetheart, but she can't figure out how to open doors. Oh, I am back. All right. So we and I also realized I just had another update come in here. Let me actually. This is one of those things I'll read aloud. This is from WPC, the Weather Prediction Center. This is as the National Weather Service and Storm Prediction Center. They all work hand in hand. So let me just pull this over and see what we have here. Flash flooding likely, locally considerable impacts possible. So what I'm going to actually do is pull this up on the big screen here, which you can't see. I'm going to show you something different there too. Again, lots going on here, lots to talk about. Just kind of stick with me and we'll get all that information out to you as best we can. I'm just pulling this up. It's going slow. Okay, here is this latest update, and forgive me, I do have to read this. This just came out a few minutes ago. It says, I'm going to kind of skim over it for you and knock out some of the more technical stuff. It says, training of heavy rain is expected to impact portions of southeastern Texas, and actually what I'm going to do real quick is show you this, kind of the graphical area that we're talking about. So this is what I'm looking at here. Whoops. And it looks like they've highlighted the greatest concern for additional 3 to 6 plus inches of rain through 9Z, which is 3 a.m., and that would include Rapides, Vernon, Beauregard, Allen, and Evangeline Parish and extreme western Avoyelles. So now I will go back to links, have the radar up, and I'll read this to you. So it says training of heavy rain is expected to impact portions of Louisiana. Localized rainfall rates near or over 3 inches per hour are expected, and 6-hour totals of 3 to over 6 inches will be possible. So that means significant flash flooding is possible. Regional radar and infrared satellite imagery showed an MCS, which is a mesoscale convective system. That's what you're seeing there. Lots of lightning, thunder, heavy rainfall. They're forming along a low-level convergence axis. This is mostly for me, but I gotta do this stuff on the fly. Mesoanalysis showed a lot of instability, no inhibition for that. So southerly fetch of wind at 25 to 35 knots just above ground level, slowly translating into western Louisiana over the next few hours. But with that convergence axis remaining in the same place, it looks like we're going to see that significant rainfall train over the same areas. So already underway with a forward propagating cell just west of College Station. So that's way out west. You can see these storms, they're in here into our area, including, like Verda down to Boyce and Flatwoods, Coteal Lake area about to get hit by this with these big storms here in Vernon Parish for Leesville down toward DeRidder, Rose Pine, Nulano, and then more stretching out to the back. That's the whole elongating of this that I've been talking about. And as this moves toward the east-northeast, you can see if I draw an arrow east-northeast, a lot of these, it's a crooked arrow, but you get the idea. These storms are going to be moving over the same locations, and that is the stuff we don't want to see. It says, while the axis of ongoing training along the Sabine River may begin to shift to the east, that's what we were saying, additional upstream development is likely to support the development of training from west to east across this area. Rainfall rates of 2 to 3 inches. Okay, we already said that. All right, so that's it. And now we're talking about the I'm going to show you, and unfortunately, the best way I can do this is to go through the computer. Oh, sorry. It's real easy to do that. So I'm going to go back 24 hours. This is infrared satellite, and I'm going backwards now. But look at how these deep reds, we see this a lot during hurricane season as we're looking at the cloud tops, but these dark, almost black areas, that's showing me cloud tops that are all the way up to about minus 70 Celsius. We're seeing storm tops up to about 60,000 feet, maybe even a little higher, and you can just see how these deeper reds, and blacks are expanding as these thunderstorms continue to the east. That shows me that they're strengthening, that they're getting taller, and that gives us more room to get a lot of heavy rainfall out of this. So, now I pulled up Facebook. There we go. I just pulled that up for the comments. So, goodness, it's going to be hard to... Manny, yeah, Manny, you've been getting smoked up that way. Now, the good news is, I think at least temporarily, north of like Manny to Provençal to Dry Prong, Gina line, maybe that severe threat's coming down just a little bit because you've seen so much. Atmosphere's kind of overturned here, and unless we get that boundary to come back up to the north, then we're probably going to see the threat for some heavy rainfall, but maybe that severe threat's just a little bit less. What I'm loving seeing right now, though, is no tornado warnings. Again, like I was saying, I really think that flooding is going to be the most widespread issue across the area. And this is why. Let me put it in motion. And you can see these storms earlier were kind of lined up from like Manny down through Lumberton, and they were moving more toward the northeast. This line has tilted out toward the east more, and we're seeing these thunderstorms starting to train over the same locations. Now, there's this one here, Leesville, and this is going to move right into Rapides Parish. So whatever they're getting out there, tell us about it, Leesville, because we're going to get it next. And then we have heavy rainfall here to the west. As these storms mature, they're going to take a right turn along that boundary as well, bring some heavy rain. Oh, if you didn't know it, Reed Timmer is staying in Alexandria tonight, and that's never a good thing. If you know Reed Timmer, he's one of the most famous storm chasers out there. So whenever they're bedding down in your hometown, not the best thing in the world. Let me check something out here on show prep. I don't know if I didn't bring it up. Let me just go ahead and do this. That's Tuesday's high temps. We don't need that right now. But as we're going on the fly here, I'm going to pull up my cameras. I'm going to delete this to clean things up. Just going to take a look at both cameras here. No, yep, more coming. Okay, this is the Gina camera. I'm so sorry. My goodness, where am I at? Alexandria camera. There we go. Okay, now we are live with that. 62 degrees, dew points at 60, so that boundary has shifted south of the airport. The good news is with that, when we see that boundary to our south, our tornado threat's going to be lower. Less instability near the surface, again, because we're cooler, but there still is that threat for heavy rainfall, and I'm trying to wait it out to at least see one lightning strike here. Maybe I missed one, but you can see it is raining there from that camera. This is stationed at Cenla Broadcasting Tower. In fact, I don't know where their logo went. I got to fix that because they are awesome for letting me use that tower and their tower in Gina. And that heavy rain is continuing out there right now. Just a couple of cars out there. It looks like big time rain is coming in from the west here over the next couple hours. And the Gina camera, let's take a look at this again, Cenla Broadcasting Tower, and at least we have the logo on that one. Well, that's not showing us much. It's just raining. Looks kind of spooky and weird. All right, we'll go back to radar. That is where our bread and butter is with this one, because we are just watching this big rain coming in from the west. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. Fortunately, only special weather statements. Unfortunately, we are seeing those flood warnings expanding onto the east. And I'm thinking here probably within the next few hours, we're going to see this expanded into Vernon and Rapides. And if you're watching from out in Newton and Jasper County, Texas, probably there as well. Because this complex of storms really mean in business here as it continues on toward the east. And again, you can see that outflow boundary that is shoving toward the south very slowly. We'll see how this impacts the thunderstorms later, and I said I would talk about that. Let me show you this. So there are, and I'm going to have to, we only have 3 sites available to us, so we're going to go to the national radar. A little less detail here, but taking off all the warnings and stuff, you look at this big picture and you can see that next round of storms forming down here. Now the question is, does this outflow, does it push far enough south to keep the most severe, the craziest weather from the second band for tomorrow morning to our south? I think we're going to get blasted with heavy rain either way. It's going to be either this way where we get it now through the next several hours with some rain in the morning, or we're going to see this thing lift a little further north, and then this line's going to come through and it's going to bring us the big blast of heavy rain and thunderstorms. So either way, we're going to get this. It would be nice if that squall line stayed a little further south. I mean, it would be nice if it went away, of course, But if we do miss that, then I think flooding is the main concern. Though again, with this kind of environment with a lot of low-level wind shear, there is the potential for some severe weather as well. I mean, we can see rotating storms. We've already seen this. Now look at this. This is pretty interesting here. This is a bigger lookout from the Fort Johnson radar. Heavy rain coming in. You can see it lifting north, but these more mature cells are moving toward the east. As these grow out here, they're going to move toward the east. And look at these nasty cells out here. One right over my daughter there in College Station. Lily, I'm sure you're asleep, studying, doing something cool. But over to the east, this is what we've been dealing with. This is what we're going to be dealing with. And I really want to hit this hard that I think there is going to be a flooding threat out of this tonight. We're already seeing flood warnings, as I said here, for Wynn, Grant, Natchitoches, Sabine Parish, and then way up along I-20. I mean, flood warnings continuing for Shreveport. Even though it's not raining, they've had so much that they have that flood warning still in place. And there is, again, more upstream. So that's going to be developing and moving this way. I figured this was an easy way to get on, kind of broad brush things, maybe answer a few, answer a few questions. Saline Lake getting wrecked right now here in Winfield. Yeah, looks like that is definitely the case. And let me look at the last hour's worth of rainfall. This is showing you where that heaviest rain is pivoting, and you can see how this area moving a little more east, this area kind of lagging back, and that's where we're seeing those heavier totals. And I'm gonna kind of copy their homework here, but. And I'll do the 3-hour track here. This actually shows where the heaviest rain has fallen. So we've seen the heaviest rain where that yellow is. That's 2+ inches on radar estimates from Natchitoches through Jasper down toward Burkeville, Texas. Let's see. So Florine, that area. You've seen the heaviest. I think over the next probably 4 or 5 hours, we're going to see another real big, heavy batch of rain right across this area. Could be more flooding problems, could be new flooding problems further south of where we're already seeing this all. And you can see here that we've had some over 3 hours. I mean, you're talking 4.5, 2.5. So 2 to 5 inches of rain in 3 hours. Too much rain. Now we're still seeing 2 to 3 inch per hour rates. And it's just... It's happening in one of the ways I thought it could have happened, but there's so much going on with this, just so much activity out there that we're going to see the convection, the thunderstorms. We're going to see them kind of create their own environment. They're gonna tell this outflow where to go. However far south that goes, that's where we're going to see the main severe threat lining up. South of that, I think, is where we see the highest severe threat. But north of that, or right along that boundary, is probably where we're going to see the highest threat for flooding rainfall. Let me take a look at the velocity, make sure I'm not hanging up on you as things are about to go crazy here. I do not see anything off the charts. Look at the base. Go back to Lake Charles. It's a nice little convergent zone there. It's going to sustain these thunderstorms. And yeah, over the next several hours, that's what we're going to be looking at. So I will put it in motion again. I'm looking at this down here. I'm thinking they may end up warning this pretty soon just because that looks like it's probably producing some hail that could be moving in toward Rose Pine again. Not seeing anything on velocity, not seeing anything showing up on debris tracker that is misbehaving. Nope, not seeing that right now. So let me put this in motion and I'll talk you out for a second. And I will, I'll be coming back on live if need be here, if we see any significant warnings or if we really start to see this flood threat materialize. But I would not be doing any traveling, if possible, across Vernon, Rapides, even Avoyelles Parish in a couple hours, Natchitoches, Sabine. You're out of it right now, but you can see more of this moving up. And then Grant and Wynn Parish and eventually LaSalle as well. So lots of stuff going on here. Be safe, be sane, be normal. Be nice, all that good stuff. And I will put a text update out here in just a little bit with that WPC outlook and everything. And I'll look at models and just kind of see what's going on. All right, I will see y'all back here in a bit, I'm sure.